Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello and welcome to the show. Please subscribe.
Indeed. And please head over to thatpedalshowstore.com and grab some merch. It's the main way we fund the show.
Yes, it is, and we're very grateful to anyone that does. Okay, today we're doing a show that's come in as a question from one of our wonderfully beautiful dear viewers, Yeatzee guitar.
Nice.
But it might be Yeatzee. Anyway, it's
Okay.
Yeatzee guitar. Anyway, he says, I have a video for consideration. The question is, does the amp matter when they're set clean to use with pedals in the way that you normally do?
Great question.
What does he mean by the question, Dan?
So, when we think of the sounds of our favourite amplifiers, we generally think of them with they're pushed a little bit, they're creating some harmonics. You know, that's the sound of, the Marshalls and the Fenders pushed. But if they're set really clean, does it matter? May as well we all be just plugged into Hot Rod Deluxes. Are we just kidding ourselves?
Well, he goes on to say, the cabinet and speaker will always affect the tone quite a bit.
Yes.
So in order to make any comparisons, we will keep the cabinet and speaker the same.
Yep.
We'll explain what that is in a minute. My idea would be to test the same pedals into different amp heads, how you would normally set them.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got three pairs of amp heads today.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with the Matchless and the Laney, both 30 watts. We'll then move on to the Two-Rock and the Hiwatt, both 100 watts.
Ooh.
And then for a bit of spicy at the end, we've got a 50 and 100 watt Marshall Plexi.
Okay. Awesome.
And Yeatzee says he wants a deluxe reverb. We decided not to use a deluxe reverb because it's a combo and it's only 22 watts. And it's easier to swap their heads around. Anyway, so we're going to have 6 amps. We're going to hear them all through that cabinet. Now, in that cabinet is a Celestion G1265 and a WGS, the equivalent of it.
Right.
Something 65, I forget
Which
what it's
one
called.
are we miking today?
Put it on screen. It's the WGS one that's mic'd.
Great. Okay.
And we've mic'd it before and we really like the sound of it. So, yeah,
I think it's a great question.
what gives rise to the question is Dan and I are proponents of using amps set with a lot of headroom and using pedals to get the gain textures and all of that, rather than cranking the amps up to bejesus to get that, use that for your gain texture, whereafter you've got nowhere to go. And what starts to happen, and we'll get into this during the show, we'll start playing in a minute, I promise, is that there is a massive assumption that there is clean and dirty. They're so far apart. Actually, where we live is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And what we're going to get into today is whereabouts in the middle are we? What do these amps do when you hit them with an overdrive pedal?
Yes.
How clean are they?
Yeah.
It's a great
It's
question.
a great question.
As you can see, we've got a collection of old rubbish on the pedal board. And mighty it is sounding too. That's picked very specifically because we've got a very, very high headroom loud boost. We've got a standard op-amp type overdrive pedal.
Yes.
Transistor overdrive pedal. Well, at least an op-amp type overdrive pedal. Solid state overdrive pedal. And we have got a valve overdrive pedal. So the three sort of key
3 main food
types.
groups.
No fuzzes today, but
No.
that's okay.
It's okay.
Bit of wobbly, bit of delay, bit of reverb.
Yes. And it's interesting with the delay and reverb because we also want to be able to hear, these are really beautiful delays and reverbs, we want to be able to hear the detail in them and where does that start to go awry
Yeah.
when the amps start limiting.
No effects loops. We very, very, very rarely use effects loops. And that's another reason for using high headroom amps. Anyway, without further ado, the first 2 amps are both 30 watts. One uses EL84s, one uses EL34s.
Right.
The Matchless uses the 84s. And we're using the radial headbone VT. And what that does is it switches the 2 heads into the same cabinet.
Yes. Very handy piece of gear.
Super handy, and it means that the pedals are consistent, the speakers, cabinet and mics are consistent, the recording chain is consistent, so the only difference you're hearing are those amplifier heads, as per the question. Does it make any difference? What's interesting about the Matchless, that's about as clean as it goes, right?
That's it. That's as clean as it gets. You can see on the volume control there, it's just on, and you were having a job just to get it on so it wasn't distorting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's at its maximum headroom point. The master volume is completely switched out, and it's just on.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any louder than that. It just gets more overdriven.
Gets a bit louder.
Yeah.
So let's have a listen then. We've set the amps up to sound kind of similar. I'll give you a listen to the amps, and then we can start swapping some pedals in. And I think what we're expecting to hear here is the biggest difference of the day.
Right.
Because the amps are lower powered, and what's happening is the pedals are pushing them into overdrive and distortion.
Yeah.
Here's the Laney.
Well, they both sound great, don't they?
They're both at the point where they're the loudest we can get them before they start overdriving without anything put in. And if Dan hits the guitar soft and hard, you'll hear that both of them will go into overdrive a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And interestingly, the Matchless is breaking up a little bit more than the Laney, maybe because of the F86 tube.
Yep, yeah.
What that means is when he plays softly, the amp can go nice and clean. And if we add a boost in a minute, you'll hear that the difference between clean and overdrive is pretty vast straight off the guitar.
Yeah.
So we just try a straight boost?
Yeah, straight boost.
So this is the Thorpe Heavy Water. It's a mad boost. It's got insane amount of kickness.
Kickiness.
That is hilarious. What do you hear?
So what it does, as soon as you start hitting the amps with more signal, the amps become further and further apart tonally. So what we're hearing is all the mids in the Matchless sort of caving in that glorious way. Yeah. And that little bit more headroom in the Laney, suddenly you get the more bottom ends, and it's still overdriving, it's still pushing the amp into natural limiting, but the differences between the amplifiers becomes so much more apparent when you're hitting it with signal.
Because the pedal is pushing the amp into overdrive. And then that, as Dan says, that difference in that EQ can be clearly heard. So in this instance, with these two amps set like this, you know, the assumption is we set them as wide open and as absolutely as clean as they can go. That's not the case. We set them on the edge. And actually, when you put the pedals in to them, the amp really starts to add its own character. I'll come back a bit from that and just use the heavy water as a boost and play some clean and see if we can detect much difference there. I'm going to add some helpers, if you don't mind, Dan.
Indeed.
Just to give me a bit of ambience with the clean sound. So... lovely, buffery, high-endy. The guitar was rolled down a bit, still goes into overdrive when you push it.
And the difference there in the two amps was the top end. Was for the mids, the sizzle and the matchless, you still had the sizzle in the Laney, but it didn't have the same upper mid thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can we change all this with EQ? Yeah, but we're talking about the sort of basic character of the amp. Let's have a quick go with the other two things and then we'll swap over, because what we're not doing at this point is really answering the question. Yeatzee, you did ask for these two amps. And assuming that we're setting them in their most headroomy position, which we are, but the fact is they can't do mega clean at the volume we play.
Yeah.
And when we talk about headroom in that way, that's exactly what we're talking about. So these amps are really working.
They are.
Even though they're not into heavy overdrive.
No, but they're working and sounding, it just sounds so good.
Let's have a listen to the Noble Screamer then. So this is currently set, not in its tube screamery setting, but in its more OCD type setting.
Yes.
Well, on both switches. So it's more like a fuller range overdrive than a tube screamer. See what you think, Dan. Just before we do the tube driver, I'm going to turn the middle up and the bass and treble down a bit on the Laney.
Okay.
Just to see how much EQ can make a difference.
Yep. Honestly,
for however much that Laney costs,
it
is standing up very well against the Matchless.
Very well.
If we're into a competition at this point, which we shouldn't be. But my goodness me, that bit. The Matchless, just the mids, the way it puts it across, it is truly a magic thing.
It's my favourite amp in the world. And especially for Telecasters and single coil. I mean, with everything, it sounds great. But what's amazing is when you hear them clean, and now that you've dialed the EQ in, they're playing clean. It's like, oh, they're
very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
It's when you start to hit them and the amps start to work and all the harmonics and stuff happen. It's like, oh, okay, you can hear what the Matchless is doing that makes it so special. The Laney sounds amazing.
It's doing a great job.
It's a great job. It sounds
and
really.
they both seem to suit that cab quite nicely.
That's a Yeah.
All right, before we swap the amps out, I just want to do one last thing. Dan, what were you enjoying most pedal-wise there? Overdrive pedal-wise.
Yeah, the tube driver.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the amps into overdrive now. Just as a final thing, which isn't really the question because we're talking about headroomy amps, but the prediction is they will now get even more different as the amps go into more overdrive.
Yeah.
So just play the Laney a bit and I'll crank it up and get it overdriving.
Okay. Yeah, exactly that.
So Yeatzee, we want to say that your prediction is somewhat correct.
Yeah.
In that the more the amps start overdriving, the more different they sound.
But it doesn't seem to matter whether or not if you're getting more signal from turning the input gain on the amps up, or whether you're getting more signal from putting more signal into the input via your pedals.
Yeah.
Then the amplifiers still, the characteristics of the amplifier still come through as you're introducing more signal.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. All right, let's swap the amps out.
Back in the room.
Okay, next two amps. Right, we've gone to the opposite end of the spectrum now. We've gone from 30 watts amps that don't really have any clean, or at least not at the volume we play, have limited clean, to two amps that really should, 100 watt Two-Rock Classic Reverb Signature and 100 watt Hiwatt DR103 from 1973. Custom Hiwatt 100. Widely considered as, one of the most brutally loud and full-on guitar amps that has ever existed. So what we'll probably do here, don't know, we'll see. Just listen to the amps themselves. We set them up to sound kind of similar in terms of headroom and volume.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll just lean off the volumes on the pedals a bit because it could get a bit hurty quite quickly. I'm already going, that's loud.
Yep.
That's loud. All right. What you will hear now is a giant difference between the guitars because that guitar is about twice as loud as this one. So this one will sound soft and won't push the amps as hard. That one really will.
Okay.
Give it a go. And the Tele is pushing them into ever so slight overdrive.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So should we set them cleaner?
No, because I want to hear that now.
Because we don't, that's the thing, right? The assumption in Yeatzee's question is that we always set the amps to their absolute maximum clean headroom, and we just don't do that. We always set them to there.
Yeah,
a little bit. If you push it with a loud guitar, it will just break.
Yeah.
Just. This guitar won't do anything like that. Man, it is a hurtful and horrible thing to hear that amp with no reverb. Actually, the Two-Rock's a bit louder. We'll turn it down just a touch. Really, I mean, straight off the bat, the difference in the EQ, fairly significant. Can we even some of that out maybe? We're not really interested in setting them up to sound exactly the same. It's more about what happens when we step on the dirt pedals.
Yeah.
Dare we try the boost?
Go on then.
Okay, I've got to have some reverb though, mate. That is really
Let's
hurty.
do a bit of plays.
Yeah. Woo! Holy shit.
That is loud.
The guitars I like going.
But so what's fascinating about that is the extra headroom and the amps have taken that boost and just gone, come on,
I'll have a bit of that.
I'll have a bit of that. And it's like,
It is pushing the front end. It did start to clip a bit.
yeah. But with the 30-watt amplifiers, they
Yeah.
just caved straight away.
Yeah. Okay, so you've turned it down a bit. We didn't hear the Hiwatt with it on that setting.
No, because that would have just...
Well, I don't know that it would.
Okay.
Was that the way it was? Were we there?
Okay, let's try that then.
Yeah, I'll just... So Hiwatt breaking up less than the Two-Rock.
Yep.
Two-Rock's in its most gainy setting. And just taking that boost, like...
That's what the Hiwatts do, right?
Yeah. And why do we like that? We like that because we're not always hitting the guitar so hard. So when you've got that headroom and you're using a boost, maybe you're leaning on a nice big reverb and some delay, and you're...
Wow.
I just turned the bright off in the Two-Rock because it was super fizzy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the clean headroom in the Hiwatt, more.
Yeah.
Definitely more.
I want to hear that and the tube driver and some reverb, please, sir.
Okay.
Actually, some design reverb. And
Yeah,
tube
yeah.
driver.
And we might just want to turn down a bit. It is insane. So here's back to your question, Yeatzee. Before we were using the pedals really loud to push the amp into overdrive. Now I think if we're going for something like unity volume and not pushing the amp so hard,
Just changing the colour.
then you start to hear more of the pedal. You still hear the amp, but anyway, let's see. That's probably quite loud, but... That's insane loud. That is actually insanely loud.
Yeah. So, very interesting that the Hiwatt is just holding it all together. It still feels like there's more to go in the Hiwatt.
Yeah.
I think we've got to be a bit careful because that's hurty.
Yeah.
Hurty loud.
Yeah.
But the Two-Rock's still doing what it does and sounds amazing. But I think this is the reason that the Hiwatts became so popular, because they could be incredibly loud back when these came out at a time when PAs were, all they could have in them was vocals,
Yeah.
and they needed volume from the guitars.
Yeah.
So that's when that was born, but they hold it together so well.
And sort of often misquoted as a sort of PA for guitar, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is not
yeah.
the case at all,
No.
but much more a platform on which to build. And the reason I love that Two-Rock so much is because it gives me plenty of amp.
Yes. Yeah.
The Hiwatt is giving you plenty of amp, but the Two-Rock is giving you more of it
Yeah.
with the pedals. So it's all symbiotic at the end of the day. Everything matters, but I like the way. So back to the question, is it just the same when you use these big high headroom amps? No, it's not,
no.
because the amp is still giving you a huge amount of what its tonal character is.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And for me, that starts to happen at lower volume as well.
Yeah.
Even though it's a 100-watt amp.
Amazing.
So whether it's a Marshall or a Hiwatt or an Orange or whatever it is that tugs at your heartstrings, that interaction of amp and pedal as things start to get harmonically interesting is really what it's all about.
Completely. And doesn't really matter if they're set super clean. You still, whether you're increasing the volume using the amp or you're increasing the volume using signal into the amp, you're still going to hear the character of that amplifier.
Yeah,
You know, that was
have a quick go with a
fascinating.
noble thingy, then I'll turn it down to begin with, and then we'll go up a bit.
Okay. A bit of this as well, please.
Yeah, I think it's right. I must the fizzy on the top of the Mercury X is not working with these high amps for me.
Okay.
There's too much, but don't change it on my account. You know, if you like it, then a bit darker.
There you go.
Yeah, try that.
Okay.
Fascinating. So, for reference, the Master volumes on both amps are pretty much straight up.
Mm-hmm.
The gain on the Two-Rock is way down.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And the gain on the
Hiwatt
is right up. Let's just try this a minute. I'm going to turn the gains down to 0.
Right.
This will crackle because it's noisy. I'm going to turn the masters right up, okay? Let's see what that does. So the Hiwatt is now fully wide open on the master, and so is the Two-Rock. Mm-hmm. Which one are we on? Hiwatt?
Hiwatt?
So if it crackles, just nobody be too scared, right? So, for all of those of you who think all Two-Rocks are that loud John Mayer clean thing, this one isn't.
Yeah.
It's got way more gain in this setting. It's got way more gain running all the way through. Mm. Neither good nor bad, nor better nor worse. Just kind of underlines the point. What do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fascinating.
Yeah. It's funny, with the Tube Driver, there was bits where I preferred the Hiwatt. Mm-hmm. With the Noble Screamer, I preferred the Two-Rock pretty much every time. Yeah. Just because one of the reasons I use that amp, it sounds like I'm defending it. One of the reasons I'm using it is because of where the mid-range sits.
Right.
And with the Strat, I love.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
I love that. I love that. I promise for the last amps, I'll use some humbuckers so we can hear some humbuckers. Right.
Back in the room.
50 and 100 watt plexi, aren't they just the same thing?
Of course they are.
So, 1987X on the top, 50 watt. I say relatively modern, it's probably 20 years old. Reissue, and on the bottom, 1959S model. Although it does have a master volume mod at the moment, the master volume is flat out, so not in play.
So in theory, they're both plexis. The only difference is the power section, right?
Yeah, I mean, they are a little bit different. But what's interesting is we'll start with the 50, and I will, bearing in mind it's no master volume, I'll just turn up the volume. Mm-hmm. It does have the bright cap removed, and so does the 100.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because they're, for those of you who know plexis, they are largely unusable below about 4 on the volume control if the bright cap is in. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you can have that conversation among yourselves. Both bright caps have been removed. We're in the high input of the high treble channel on both amps. Dan will play the 50, and I'm just going to turn it up till it starts overdriving.
Okay.
Right. So 0.
Unreal.
It's overdriving by 2, right, on the volume control.
Wow.
Let's try that with the 100.
Oh, wow. All right, ready?
Yeah. No, mummy.
No, I can't.
So that was getting up to sort of 4 by the time it was overdriving.
Yeah. Hurty.
Really, really, really hurty.
Yeah. But the 50,
yeah,
it got to that point where it was overdriving so beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the 100 watt, not fun at that point.
I mean, even stood there, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's enough.
Yeah.
That is enough. I mean, it's even more, I would say that because of the particular frequencies involved, it's even more brutal than the Hiwatt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in a big way. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the 50 below that point. And in this spot, like just below 2, is a fantastic place as a clean platform.
Yep.
And then what I'm going to do is set the 100 up somewhere similar. I'm going to bring the master down a bit and just get a bit more love going from the pre, so that it's got a bit more, slightly less brutality going on. And we'll hear what happens between the two.
Okay.
So go to amp A again then, please, Dan.
Yep.
Liking that?
I love that.
It's such a great sound.
Amazing.
Okay. On this master volume here, I'm just going to turn it down to the point where it gets, well, you'll hear. You'll hear. Get that right. Thin, 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 and then you'll hear it become fat. It's about 3 o'clock.
Right.
All right. I'm going to take some of that presence out of it.
That transient in that amp is insane.
So how are we for volume between the two amps? I think that sets us up for a pretty good demonstration of the point, because I think we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So at the moment, this doesn't have a master volume and it's on just under 2. This one does have a master volume. The master volume is on 3/4, so in a very open state, and the input gain is just over 2. At which point the 50 would be overdriving like a banshee.
Completely.
So, shall we try with a boost, Dan?
Yes, please, sir.
I'll use humbuckers for this because it might be that this Les Paul is going to push that 50 in a tiny bit. So it's pushing the 50 a bit. Let's see what a boost does. Mummy. That is the difference between a 150 watt Marshall.
I could listen to amp A all day. No problem whatsoever. The difference between that and the 100 watt and the transients, that is amazing.
It's worse than the Hiwatt, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I say worse, like worse stroke better.
I mean, it sounds glorious, but far out. The punch in that thing is off the charts.
And you don't want to be hitting that.
No.
No. Have a go with the Noble Screamer then. That's different.
Because the amp is limiting, right? we're hearing the delay so much louder in the amp that's limiting. The amp that has more headroom, the delay is quieter.
So we're saying the delay should be quieter in the 100.
Delay, yeah, you can hear the.
Let's listen for that. Listen
Okay.
for that specifically. Then I'm just going to turn this up a bit. That's really interesting because with the Noble Screamer, obviously there's quite a bit of overdrive and limiting happening in the pedal itself. And it is not, the 100 is not massively louder at this point.
No.
It's just a bit
It's just the
less
extra,
hairy.
It's just the extra headroom because it's not working with the amp in the same way.
So if we push the output on the Noble Screamer then, let's see what happens.
Okay.
What this should do is really smash the front of the 50 and really make it really hairy and overdriven, and that delay will start popping out. And I'm rather hoping the 100 will get hella loud. We'll see.
Okay.
Be very interesting to see what's happening to our mic pre's today, because that is crazy town.
That is outrageous behaviour.
Yeah. So back to your question, Yeatzee. Using these high headroom amps as pedal platforms, how much difference do they make? Well, the difference between a 50 and a 100 watt Marshall is absolutely colossal.
And fascinating that when we started in the clean sounds at the same level, sonically there's not much, a little bit,
more
but,
weight in the
but
100.
we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
When you start to push it, we're in different universes.
And I think that's the point I would like to underline. When we say we use amps with high headroom, it doesn't mean clean. It means they have high dynamic range. They have high headroom to be able to take whatever you give them. Might be that they do go significantly into overdrive. If you've got a 50, it's got that far to go. If you've got 100, it's got that far to go. But it could be between where the 50 stops and the 100 is all overdrive.
Yeah, right.
Shades thereof.
Yeah.
I just want to have a quick go with the tube driver then, to in the interests of completism. Mummy. That's it. So, as if we need to make the point, right, that very last sound, the guitar's on 2 on the volume knob, and the extra punch and clarity and headroom of everything below the full-on balls-out sound is twice as much.
Yep.
Fascinating. What are our conclusions then, Dan? So the original question was, does the amp really make any difference when you're using them in this high headroom, clean pedal platform environment?
Categorically, yes.
Like,
Absolutely. That should leave no one in any doubt.
every amp sounded fundamentally different.
Yep. And even when they started off in the same basic volume level, same basic EQ setting, as soon as signal is introduced and they start to get pushed, the amps separate.
And that's the interesting point, right? Because when we say, I'm going to make this point for one last time, when we say we set the amps for high headroom, slightly cleaner, we don't mean super sterile, clean, with nowhere to go. What we mean is when you add boosts, overdrives, fuzzes, distortions, it works in tandem. It creates its own ecosystem with the amp, and the way you're not just hearing the pedal. And that's the great, like, so many comments will say stuff like, oh, you idiots, you're putting that stupid solid state pedal into the front of a tube amp. There's no point having a tube amp. Well, bollocks. It makes a colossal difference.
It really
and
does.
The whole thing makes a colossal difference. For us, for me and Dan, tone is in that spot where there's enough gain but not too much, where the harmonics have space to develop, where the feel under the fingers, as it were, i.e. the sort of elasticity of notes. I mean, string tension is always the same, but you know what I mean. Where the harmonics develop, where the feedback develops, where you feel comfortable as the player, is all about that combination of, and it's absolute guitar tone 101 basics. Gain, EQ, volume, headroom.
Yeah.
Pick your point.
Yeah, completely. And they all interact and they all work in that thing, but it's understanding what's going on there will get you the dynamics from this out there. Amazing. That was absolutely fascinating.
It was.
You know what? The winner
good to hear them side by side.
Yeah.
Well, one final point. If you're doing all this at 82 dB,
Yeah.
I would say the difference between those amps becomes less interesting.
Yeah.
They have to be working,
Yes.
don't they?
They have to be working. It's as much the interaction with this. I mean, if you put all that through an attenuator and go down to whisper,
That
it's
knocks
just
all the edges off.
Yeah,
and it's
completely.
not don't want to be disparaging about it, but you do lose those significant differences because the amp itself is an ecosystem. It needs to be working. It needs the front bit to be working. It needs the middle bit to be working, and it needs the back end to be working.
You know the winner today?
100 watt Marshall.
Well,
50
100 watt
watt Marshall.
I was going to say the cab.
Oh yeah, it's coped well.
That sounds incredible.
That's my £185 eBay bargain.
Amazing.
I did replace the speakers. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I thought all the amps had a thing. The Hiwatt, the Matchless, the Laney.
wish
they
they
all
did.
sounded great.
I wish they did a 75 watt Marshall. Because the 50 is just not quite enough, and the 100 is just way too much.
Yeah, a little bit more than the 50.
Yeah. Maybe 3 dB off it. Maybe turning the brown box. Anyway, that's for another day. I hope that answers your question, Yeatzee. What we didn't do is it really any better than a Hot Rod Deluxe? I hope the amps that we used today proved that if we stick a Hot Rod Deluxe up now, it's going to be different again.
exactly.
It's very
Do
much
its own
not
thing.
going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
We love Hot Rod Deluxes,
We
by the
do.
way.
Magic. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And a massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merchandise. 'Tis the main way we fund the show.
And very grateful we are too. Thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Please go there and get involved in that if you want to.
And don't forget to join us on Monday, 5 o'clock, Great British time. And I'd love to hear what you think and hear what your experiences are with this sort of thing.
And everyone will have a favourite.
Yeah.
Everyone will have a favourite of what works for them in that whole melee. So please let us know.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we should do a quiet one this afternoon, Dan.
I think that's a fantastic.
That was bonkers.
It's insane. Brilliant. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. See you soon. Bye.